In the last episode of 2 Minute Tuesday, we took a look at some of the things that I learned when listing my property for sale. And so in this week's episode, it only really makes sense for me to give you the benefit of my knowledge about the tips that I picked up and what recommendations I have about purchasing a villa in Spain, which again I did recently. So welcome to episode number 97 of 2 Minute Tuesday with Hondon Valley Homes. Now, even though I've been selling property here for many years, it struck me recently that I've actually got very little experience of personally buying property. Now, the last time that I purchased a property in Spain was 15 years ago, and the time before that was 17 years before that. So purchasing our new home was not only a refreshing experience, if you can call it that, for myself, but it also reminded me of some of the stress and strains that maybe sometimes our clients go through when buying a property in a foreign country. So in this episode, we're going to cover some of the lessons learned on our recent buying process. And in the next episode, what we're going to do is we're going to look at some of the tips about the actual move itself. Hopefully you'll like that one. So let's crack on. Now, I'm going to start with taking things for granted, that you've already found your agent, you've found the area you want to live in, and of course you found the dream home. If you need any help with any of those aspects, then there's going to be links in the buyers section of our website, details on the screen at the moment. Now, the first thing we're going to cover is the legal and the paperwork. Now, the Spanish system is similar but subtly different to what you may be used to. So what I want you to do is always get on top of all of the terms, the jargons, the names. And if you're unsure, ask. I made sure that everything was done in writing, and obviously you've then got everything that you can refer back to. Now, the next thing is costs. Now, you need to be aware of all of the costs associated with buying your home. So what taxes do you need to pay? What are your particular costs, and what are the costs of the vendors? Again, if you're unsure, ask your lawyer, ask your agent. That's what they're there for. That's what you're paying them to do. Now, after all, we don't make these videos just for the fun of it. These are valuable resources for our buying and selling clients alike, and I've been reliably informed that several of the agents tune in religiously on Tuesdays to watch the episodes. Now, on the legal side of things, we found it wasn't particularly stressful. However, I still had a couple of sleepless nights, and I know what I'm doing. So what you need to do is take the time and be in constant contact with the agent and lawyer and have them answer any of the questions that you have. Something very insignificant to them could be something that's keeping you awake at night, so always ask. Now, even though I've sold hundreds of properties, I wasn't too proud to ask for advice when I needed to. Now, I'm going to give you a top tip now. Everything you do with regards to the sale, do it in writing, all communications. The simple reason for that is that you can then refer back to these things in case there are any miscommunications, and they'll be kept to a minimum. If you think about it, 15,000, 50,000. It sounds quite similar when speaking to somebody whose first language isn't English. Do everything in writing. Now, this brings me nicely on to finances. Keep a tight control on them. Budget for everything and get as many quotes as you possibly can, and don't leave it to the very last moment. It'll almost inevitably end up costing you more. You need to become your own accountant. Costs are very easily get out of control, so keep tight control of the purse strings. Again, on money, if you're bringing money from out of the country, then international money orders. So if you're coming from out of the Eurozone, watch the exchange rate like a hawk. And if you get the opportunity, fix the rate if that's what you want to do. We work with lots of transfer companies in our line of business, and there are some good ones and bad ones. So get as many quotes as you can. And if you want a recommendation, let me know. Next point is research. Now, I did as much as I can. There are so many resources available to you. You can go back and even refer to 2 Minute Tuesdays as a timely reminder if you need any help. The next tip I've got is time management. Now, we logged everything that we possibly could using Google Calendar. Now, there is so much to remember when you're buying or selling a property that we found it as a great resource of keeping track of things. Now, there are tons and tons of time management apps available online, and even specific moving apps available. So take a look, they could really save you some time and hopefully some money. Things to do lists. Rather than forgetting, get a things to do list. It can sometimes be a downer as things are added to the list quicker than you're ticking them off. But trust me, the reverse happens, and it's a great feeling when you do start to get through some of the jobs. There are lots of online facilities that you can use, and you can share those with your partner or your family, and it will save duplicating tasks. And again, this can save you time and money. Another tip, obviously, which makes a lot of common sense, is plan to do as much as possible, as soon as possible. And this way it will minimise the inevitable rush as you get closer to the completion date. The next one, always use professionals. Now, it may be tempting to use the service of a mate who's got a van, but when your precious piece of art or your 60-inch flat screen TV gets broken, you've got nobody to blame but yourself. We used a great removal company, but we'll talk more about that in the next episode. And the final thing I learned, and I think this is the most important thing I learned, and I'd like to pass this one on to you. Enjoy it. There will be some times when you will question your decision making. There'll be times when you're not sure whether you've done the right thing or not. But trust me, when you're sat on your own balcony, enjoying views like this, it will all become good. So that's it for this week's 2 Minute Tuesday. If you do have any questions or queries, please feel free to let me know. The next episode will all be about the move itself and some of the tips that we've picked up during that experience. So we'll look forward to your company for the next episode of 2 Minute Tuesday. If you have any questions or queries, if you're thinking of buying or selling your property, then please feel free to contact me. Our details will be on the screen at the moment. But until then, from sunny Spain, adios.